Okay. Hi, Ms. Farron. Thank you for coming in today and meeting with me to come and discuss Jess's progress in class.
Of course.
And also, I wanted to go over with you about 6 weeks ago, we took a Scholastic Test of Achievement, and I have a copy here. We're going to go over it, and I'm going to explain the test to you and the scores, her scores. And I also have a bell curve that I will show you later on and explain to you what these numbers mean. And so basically, the class took the Scholastic Test of Achievement, and what the test measures. It measures what the students have learned from the curriculum. It's not an intelligence test. It doesn't have any impact on their grades. It's just a snapshot to see how they're doing and how they're doing overall. And so I'm going to go over her achievement scores with you today. Just stop me if you have any questions or concerns, or if something I say you don't understand or you need clarification.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So like I said, here's a test of her scores, Jess's scores from the assessment. You might have noticed that there are two sections, the top section and the top box, and then there's a second bottom box here. Each represent different scores, different measurements. And so the top one is the norm referenced information box. And what this box gives us the information on how Jess's scores compare with other students, which we call the norm group. And this norm group are students who are the same age, grade, and who took the same test under the same circumstances.
Okay.
And so this test, it's a national test, so the norm group includes students from all over the country. And the bottom box is the criterion referenced information. And what this tells us is how the student performs in specific sets of sub-skills. Do you have any questions so far?
No, I think I understand.
Okay. So where the criterion reference information tells us what we need to know only about Jess's mastery of a specific set of skills, the norm referenced up here tells us how she scored in comparison to 10,000 students in the norm group. Now we'll start going over the information in each section. This section is broken down into basic subtests, or rather content areas. Looking at the first column, is there anything here that you need clarification on? Any of these subtests?
What are these two battery tests? I've never heard of that.
Okay, so the battery test, well, battery is just another word for test.
Okay.
And the basic battery is a student's overall score of the basic content areas except social studies and science. And the complete battery is the Jess's total score over the entire test. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
So let's take a look at this first column. Are there any, let's take a look at this first column. These are the number of items that were tested on in each category. So, for example, in vocabulary, which is right here, there were 36, so the number of items, there's 36. There were 36 questions. And Jess scored, her raw score is 26, meaning she got 26 correct. And let's see, and then in math concepts right here, so there were 35 questions, and her raw score was 24. So she scored 24 out of the 35. Correct. So looking back at vocabulary, Jess got 26 correct, and in math she got 24 correct. Okay. In the next column, we're given a national percentile, and that's right here. So let's see, national percentile.
Okay. Oh, so wait, she only got 49%, right, in vocabulary?
No, don't worry. These are not percentages. These are only percentiles. This actually tells us how well she scored against the norm group that we discussed earlier. Here we have a bell curve, the bell curve that I was telling you about. So the bell curve displays the bell curve displays the distribution of all the student scores in the norm group. So here we have the average. This would be the average scores. So looking at we're just placed in vocabulary. So she scored 49th percentile in vocabulary, and that's 49% better than the students in the norm group. So she, let's see, 50%. So she would be like right about here, and that's about average.
Oh, okay.
In the middle.
So, okay. I see the difference between the two now.
Okay. So moving along Jess's report, the next area on it are the scaled scores, which are right here. These scores, these scores are created by converting all her scores in the different content areas into one standard unit of measurement. Standard unit of measure. And it's similar to converting measurements on a ruler. It's hard to compare inches with centimeters, so we have to convert them to one single unit of measure. And that's what this area of the report is telling us. All the scores you see in this column here are out of 800 points. And you'll see that in vocabulary, she got 498 right here. Mm-hmm. And in math concepts, she got, I just lost 505. And we can look back at the bell curve again and see that those scores correlate to the STA scores here. Mm-hmm. And let's see, so it was 498, which would be put her right here on the bell curve, and then 505. So again, she's in the middle average.
Okay, good to know.
Okay. And if we look again, this is the normal range that she falls within that range for both subjects. So she's on track. Okay. Okay. So the next area on here is more or less a visual representation of Jess's scores in each area. There is a line down the middle which signifies the 50 percentile. Right here. And the bands, the 50 percentile, and the bands, and some of the bands, and then some bands to show where Jess's scores lie. So here,
why do they put bands and not just like dots?
That's a great question. So the reason the test makers do this is because in every test there are errors, mm-hmm. and this is not there's no perfect test. And researchers figure out that what the standard error of measurement is and build that into the results. Some things that could contribute to this error are poorly worded questions. Student was tired that day, they weren't feeling well, they were sick. So if you look up here, we see that the standard error of measurement for this particular test is plus or minus 4 points. Mm-hmm. So that means that if Jess took this test on another day, then under some slightly different circumstances, perhaps she would score either 4 points higher or 4 points lower, and below the score that she currently has.
Okay.
And so let's look at spelling. So spelling is right here. Let's come across, and we can see that her band is here. So she scored in the 68th percentile here. And if we apply that 4-point difference, she could land anywhere between the 64th percentile or the 72nd percentile.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so that takes care of the norm reference section. And before we move on to the next area, did you have any questions?
No, I think I have a pretty good understanding.
Okay. Let's see. All right, this section is a criterion referenced information. Here we just see how well Jess mastered each skill. The norm group is no longer being utilized. Also, you can see this part of the report is broken down into more specific testing categories. This is so we can get a better understanding of what area she's doing really well in and which areas she still needs to work in. Mm-hmm. Before we discuss her scores, are there any of these subtests that you would like me to explain right here?
What's inferential, what does that consist of, comprehension?
Okay, inferential comprehension is a skill we practice during reading. Mm-hmm. This is the student's ability to read between the lines, or in other words, how well they can decode what is being conveyed by the author without directly reading it.
Oh, okay.
Any other areas?
No, I think that's it.
Let's see. So in this section, we have 3 columns. We have the raw score here, the number possible, and then this low, medium, and high area is the range. The raw score is what Jess scored, and the number possible is how many of that type of particular question there were. If we take a look at the first skill listed, vocabulary, let's see, it's actually vocabulary. Her raw score is 26, and the number possible is 36. So she got 26 out of 36 questions correct. Then as we move over to the range here, we can see that put her in the medium range. Again, this isn't comparing her to the norm group like before. These ranges are actually predetermined by experts and what they feel are low, medium, and high scores for 3rd graders. If we look at Jess's language, which is right over down here, let's see, if we look at her language, take a look at the language subtest scores. Her raw scores for punctuation, usage, and let's see, usage and sentence structure are each 10 out of 11 questions correct. This put Jess in the high range, which I feel is a correct reflection of her ability. During class writing assignments, Jess exhibits great sentence structure by correctly using transitional words such as next and after. Does Jess ask for help with writing homework assignments?
Occasionally, not too often, just when she has a little bit of trouble.
Okay, great. I'm happy she has you to help her. Encourage her writing at home by asking her to write you short stories. Okay, that would really help her. Okay. Now let's look over here at some raw scores. For example, Jess's economics score. Let's see. She got a 4, so her raw score was a 4 out of 6 possible questions, which put her in the low range. And I disagree with this score, as we've been working on budgeting in class, and Jess has demonstrated understanding of the material taught. Also, Jess's geography raw score was a 4 out of 6 possible questions correct. And I think also that's not an accurate assessment of her knowledge on the subject. As we can see here in her portfolio, here, Jess answered all these questions correctly. So all but one. She answered all but one correctly, which this was an individual assignment, so which showed me that she had a good understanding of the content being taught. Okay. And I've been keeping a bunch of her work and keeping track on her scores and everything, and that she's definitely on track. So I don't know if
Yeah, why do you think she didn't score higher here then?
It could be any number of things. She could have read the question wrong, thought she bubbled in the correct answer, but accidentally bubbled in the wrong one, mistakenly bubbled that in incorrectly. I don't feel the score is indicative of her knowledge on the subject material, but it wouldn't hurt Jess if we go back and revisit some of the material that we've covered. I'll be doing this for the whole class, just to a few others had also scored a little low on that, but they've also shown. So I think just a little reteach of the information. So do you and Jess often play games?
Oh yeah, we have family night. Family game night every week.
How fun. A great fun way that you can build Jess's knowledge in geography or really any other content areas is to play educational games with her at home. Pinterest has some great ideas on games that you can make at home that are, if you have stuff around the house laying around, you can make a game out of it. Or Amazon has great selection of games for sale under, if you search in geography, educational games. For example, USA Geo Bingo. The kids love bingo. It's a good way to help build those geography skills. And I recently came across this website that would help Jess at home practice numeration. It's mathlearningcenter.org. It has all types of, there's pegs like rubber bands. You can just work on shapes, just a lot of different math skills. So she might enjoy that.
What exactly is numeration?
Okay, so numeration is the method of expressing numbers in words. This is an area where she scored 11. Let's see, numeration math right here. So she scored, her raw score was 11, correct, out of 17 possible. So that put her in the low range. And so soon after the test, so that website could help her build those math skills and some other ones as well. So soon after the test, I put together a small group of students who need to build their numeration skills, and she's one of the students that I've been working with, and I've seen her improvement. There's been improvement. So in that already. So, but it would be really beneficial for her to practice what she's been learning in class at home as well. So one area that I'm really proud of Jess is here, and that's the science. And excuse me, Jess's raw score for here in this area is from in the medium to the high. And she shows a lot of enthusiasm during our science lessons and may be interested in joining UIL or the STEM club.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard about this club. My best friend's daughter does this, and she's explained to me. So I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah,
for her.
she really seems to enjoy science. Great. Yeah, I think she'd really enjoy it, like I said. So do you have any other questions regarding the assessment test or anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I have this handout. Okay. And I wanted to give this to you to take home with you. It's an explanation of her test scores. And if you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to call me, and I can go over any areas that you don't understand or you need clarification on, or you want to talk to your husband about it and you can't remember what something was. Just give me a call, text me, shoot me an email. And if you find any trouble finding games or any activities to help her in her learning or building her academic skills, just reach out to me. And
thank you.
And then also too, if you need anything, I can just put a list into her take-home folder, and I'll let you know. She can email that to look for that in there.
Awesome. I will see what I can find, and then I'll let you know if I need help with anything.
Okay, great. Well, again, thank you for coming in. She's such a sweet girl, and she's a really pleasure to teach. And have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay.